special counsel team got to the core of its case against former Trump campaign chair Paul Manafort today. Prosecutors have been laying out the millions upon millions of dollars in foreign funds that Manafort spent on his lavish lifestyle. But late today, they started to zero in on how Manafort hid his accounts overseas and how he allegedly defrauded the government. Manafort's former bookkeeper told the court he had trouble paying his bills while working for the Trump campaign for free. And for the first time, the prosecution showed that Manafort submitted false financial statements to obtain a home loan. With us for more, Barbara McQuade, former U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan. She was in the courtroom for today's proceedings. Barbara, what stood out for you? And give us the same note that you gave us privately about what we're not paying enough attention to.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I think is concerns me a little bit is that the judge, in an effort to move things along quickly, which, most people do appreciate, and out of concern that some of the evidence of Paul Manafort's lavish lifestyle might cause resentment among the jury, is limiting the amount of evidence that the prosecution is being allowed to present in court. And it concerns me that the jury may have difficulty understanding the significance of some of the things that are coming in. There's a lot of documents here. Today we had the bookkeeper testifying about a lot of documents, and the judge does not allow the prosecution to publish the documents to the jury so that they can see it in real time. He says they can read those things later. And same thing with photographs of some of the lavish luxury items that Paul Manafort bought, things like luxury cars and custom suits and real estate and things like that. And the problem is that if this rulings result in an acquittal, the government has no recourse. The government does not get to appeal an acquittal because of the double jeopardy clause in the Constitution. So that's one thing that I see underlying the case. But nonetheless, they're persisting, and the evidence is coming in and is very strong to demonstrate the tax counts as well as the bank fraud.
One thing I've heard you say since the trial was underway, and really at the time that the indictments were unsealed, is that this is a paper case, that so much damning evidence was included in what we already have seen. What is the importance of the bookkeeper's testimony to understanding the alleged corruption with which Manafort went about hiding money and violating these laws?
Yeah, the bookkeeper's testimony, may have been a little bit tedious. It lasted for a couple of hours. It was about a lot of sort of dry financial transactions, but it was really important. One, she was able to tie income from Paul Manafort to these shell companies that he had offshore with these bank accounts in Cyprus, really important part of the case. She talked about the forgiveness of a loan for $1.5 million that should be treated as income. I think we're going to learn later that's undeclared income. She also talked about how in 2016 and 2017, Paul Manafort became essentially broke after living this incredibly lavish lifestyle and having millions and millions of dollars. Suddenly, he's broke because his business in Ukraine dried up, which provides motivation for the bank frauds. And she also testified about some fraudulent documents that were used to obtain loans during this time when he was desperate for cash. One piece of it that's not going to come out in this case, but that is really intriguing and could come out in the later trial in the fall, is it's during this time that Paul Manafort is broke and desperate for cash that he goes to work for the Trump campaign for free. And so that raises, I think, some interesting questions about what his motive might have been there.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.